dairy farming, or was
it?
Yeah,
it was dairy farm.
Okay.
Yeah. So they made a few other products like some ice cream and some cheese and stuff. But the main kind of reason for Willicroft was they produce milk for for local supermarkets and things and vending machines. Yeah.
That's really amazing that you're holding on to that history.
They did a great job, and they're real pillars of the community.
Yeah,
that's another thing like I take from what they did. Like, they really helped a lot of people in the surrounding areas. Like they created this big buying group where all the farmers would buy their equipment or feed together, or they start loaning equipment. And I think those kind of principles can be taken into anything. You know, we try and have quite wide networks and things that like. Actually, we're going to build a composting thing under here because we want the local community to, you know, just little things like this are so important because it's business is about the human side as well.
Yeah, of course.
It's very much a people business. This, I would say.
Yeah.
And
you create a community as well by who you are, right? I mean, people come into the shop like, oh, what is this shop? And I mean, I've been in a few times where people come in and they're all confused and they don't understand. And that's also people will end up coming in just for the communal aspect as well.
Yeah, that's what we hope. Like that's a big reason we wanted the store actually, because you then come in, you really like live and breathe what we stand for, and you get to really take it in a lot more. And hopefully soon again you get to try it. The cheeses before. Yeah. That's tricky at the moment.
Yeah, of course, with everything going on. Because how long have you been here now with the shop?
We got here just before Christmas last year. So we moved in, I think, first week of December, something like that.
Right.
And
so you also didn't have a long time period before.
You should have seen it during the first few weeks. It was just like a fridge and a couple of shelves and a few desks. So it's taken a little bit of time to get it as we want it, but it's such a good spot. That
it's a nice spot.
We knew that it was work out, and the Netherlands was ready, I think, for a plant-based cheese store.
I definitely think you came here at a very good time. I remember I was still in Portugal when I heard about your shop already,
cool.
and I was like, that's perfect, you know.
Nice.
I think, and you really are. You are the first plant-based cheese shop.
First plant-based cheese store. And we were very conscious that when we launched and you know still today we're not going to produce every type of plant-based cheese, and I think what's really nice is you can come here and you get such a wide range of really high quality plant-based cheeses, and actually most of them are based here in Amsterdam as well. And
because it's not just Willicroft you're selling, right? You're also
like I would say like 20% of what we're selling is Willicroft, if that, across the whole store. So it's really about promoting
bringing
the category.
bringing the other cheesemakers together as well, plant-based cheesemakers. That's really wonderful.
Because there are 2,000 dairy cheeses in the world, so we've got a long way to go.
Yeah. Lots of other makers to come. No, that's really, and I think that's also really nice, because I do think that, you know, sometimes, especially I've seen a lot as well, like, oh, you probably don't like this cheese as if it's competition. Whereas I also think it's beautiful what you do, because you're like, no, we're all all in it together.
For sure. I mean, if Willicroft fails, it's not going to be because of the competition. It's because we will have done something bad ourselves. Because the reality is the whole category is growing so much. There's so much room for everyone. So you would never hear me complain about a competitor being a reason for us, because we would have just not done something right. It would always be on us. The cards are in our hands. So I definitely see it as us growing the space. You know, if someone produces a great vegan cheese, that gives someone a brilliant impression, they're more likely to go and try other ones, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's actually really fun to think like, you know, I'll try a Willicroft cheese and I'll try another cheese, and then, you know, it's not necessarily about like, oh, this is better than that. It's just not exactly what you're saying is bring the whole picture together as well, you know. And do you find that, you know, now the shop's back open again, do you get a lot of tourists or people that are not from Amsterdam? Or
we definitely did, and it's really picking up the last few weeks. It's still not what it was, but still it's definitely getting back to what it was. We get a lot of people who are coming through Happy Cow or through TripAdvisor, or they've seen it on socials. So that's always super nice. Like, I'm always amazed at how far people travel, and it's very humbling to hear where people have heard about it. yeah, I mean, if you're traveling to Amsterdam, we're actually blessed with options here, but still, it's still, there's few enough options to hit most of them. So I think we're on that list.
Yeah,
which is cool.
No, totally. And do you feel like some locals are coming in as well, or?
We're really lucky with the locals, yeah. So we have, firstly we have this veggie box that gets pushed out through here from a local farm, so we have the same 20 people coming in every week. Yeah. But the guys who run the stores, the people come for their days. So if say Johan's working on a Saturday, his customers will come back to him on a Saturday.
So cool.
They like chatting with him and stuff. So we have a lot of people coming in every week, which is really nice. Yeah. And
then you also are, like, for example, I know, like, because my boyfriend works for Bright Kitchen, and then you also supply to them. Yeah. And they use your cheese. And do you have a few? Do you do that for a few places where people also use, like, even restaurants are using your cheese or anything?
For sure. I mean, we want to be 50-50 on food service and retail. We're definitely heavier on retail at the moment. Yeah. Which actually, given what's happened the last few months, is quite fortunate, because retail has actually been pretty fine, but food service is where people have really struggled. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely the ambition to have more Bright Kitchen style places, because I mean, just as you can have the cheeses at home, they're brilliant with recipes. Yeah. What we try and do is we try and make them so that they're very easy to replicate, so you can literally just swap in and out. So I mean, a lot of chefs, they go through quite a kind of structured process in terms of their paths. Yeah. And they'll go to, like, a cooking school, and they'll know how to cook things in a certain way. Yeah. So if you give them a new product and it's different, it can just create unnecessary barriers. So a big part of what we're doing at the moment is showing the chefs that actually you use the cheese sauce the same way, you use the parmesan the same way. So yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool doing this, because you're playing also with, like, that's not how sort of like traditionally they would be doing that. You know? It's really good to mix that up. And do you feel that like things have really changed now, especially when it comes to vegan cheese? Even globally, like, do you feel like it's growing? Yeah, I feel like everyone's talking about it, about to change, but I still don't see the quality of products in other categories. Like, if you look at plant-based milk now, I mean, everything that comes out is just immaculate. It's well, not everything, but there's so much stuff. I'm just like, wow, beautifully branded, great taste. They've also really delving into the health now. Yeah. So the initial plant-based milks, they were focusing on flavour initially and doing a great job, but now there's some people coming out and really doing amazing stuff with the nutritionals, which actually, after things like Game Changer, was super important. Like, I couldn't believe how many people that affected that film. I mean, it was never really targeted at someone like me. I've been to a gym twice in my life. So I don't really look at the back of a pack and say, I need this much protein or whatever. But what that film did is it played on a very clever human characteristic, which is really about being selfish. To be totally blunt, the whole film is like, this is what is happening to you as an individual when you put this in your body. We are all selfish deep down. Whether it's just human instincts. And I think a lot of really people were like, shit, I'm screwing myself up. It's not the planet, not something else. It's myself. And so that's so why a lot of people who I thought would never ever consider this kind of diet have started considering it. With the plant-based milks, I think they are targeting that. But sorry,
No, it's good. It's like it's a good explanation. I'm still with you.
But with plant-based cheese, I still think we're at its infancy. Like, we really are. I think the price is too expensive, generally speaking. I think the initial coconut-based cheeses have given a lot of bad impressions, and they've also gone in so low on price that the more artisanal ones they look so lost next to them. And that's just a case of ingredients.
Do you feel like, sorry to interrupt you there, because I found it such an important point, because when I was in Portugal with my cheeses, I always had this discussion, but do you feel like you have to explain a lot why your cheeses are, I don't know if they are, but why they are more expensive than those sort of cheaper cheeses? Or
well, yes, I definitely do. So to the retailer, absolutely. Retailers, to be totally frank, all they care about is price.
Yeah.
I mean, if it looks good and the rest, then that's a bonus. You definitely get some buyers who are definitely more forward thinking, but the bulk of them, that is, they're raising their tray, I guess.
Yeah.
But to the customer, there's a lot more you can do with the story and that kind of stuff. But it also does come down to an ethical thing, because of course I don't just want to make something for rich people, you know, that's not really impacts. But at the same time, I know that if it gets too cheap, then the only person paying for it is the planet. So it's like all of these things, it's just multi-layered and complex, and it's about finding the best solution, and sometimes that solution might not be immediate, but we're working towards it. So I know that we're actually going to be able to get our price point to a really good place where it's kind of like the high end of mainstream. So hopefully anyone can go out and afford it. It might be a little bit dearer than someone wants to pay, but it's just about at that sweet spot, but it's never going to be down at like the bottom of the barrel. We'll never be the cheapest vegan cheese ever. That's just not going to happen. But we can get to a place where we are able to sell at mass market. But doing things the way we want to do them in a responsible way.
Because do you feel, or do you try to also, do you think a lot about the environmental sort of side also when it comes to your packaging or something, or?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this is another issue of mine with the vegan cheese space, is that I think people settle for plant-based being enough. And I get that to a certain extent, because there's so many things to look at. And actually, if you start going into the nut world in any detail, it's a scary place. I mean, cashews, like, just the cashew alone is a crazy ingredient. Like, there are people deshelling it in India and places like that, and it's poisoning their skin, because the pus that comes out of the shell can cause all sorts of damage. There's the transport issues. You know, most of the world's cashews are grown around the equator, because it's more a tropical plant. So
absolutely.
That's an issue. It's the fact it can take 2 years to grow. You've got all the water that's needed, and generally it's in an arid environment. It's just bereft with issues. So we think we're doing something great, because, you know, on the face of it, something that is plant-based is, and it's definitely better. Like, our fondue is 2.5 times less CO2 that it produces across the whole life cycle than a dairy fondue, which of course is better. But if we swap out the cashew for something else, which we're doing at the moment, we're talking 10, 15, 20 times better for an ingredient that can be grown here. So I think it's really important to look at the metrics and the numbers. It's a tricky conversation, because it then rips up the first recipe. It rips up, you know, your packaging, design, everything. So it's a pain to have that conversation.
True.
But if we are to really progress and set standards that others can follow, then you've got to do that.
But it's a hard question, and you're saying as well, like, because I think it is tricky, and sometimes also, because I've definitely had people coming back to me like, but your cashews are not from Portugal, are they? And then I'm like, you're right, you know, because you do try to do the right thing, and you know, it is one of those really hard questions for yourself as a business as well.
I always think that if I don't have if I can't change it short term, that doesn't keep me up at night. But if I'm doing something long term and I know it's causing harm, then that's where I have issues. So as long as we know we're working towards the better option, then I'm happy. We will swap the cashew out when we've perfected the recipe with the new ingredient. I think we're talking 6 months. I'm not going to stop selling the cashew fondue for now, because it's still better than a dairy one.
And you also know, again, you know that what you're doing long term, and you know that this is short term, and so you can live with that. That's also, I think also that's good advice for people also, like,
there's chasing perfection will lead to probably never releasing a product, unless you're doing it in the US and you might have $5 million in your account, because people just throw money at things.
That's but we're not.
We're not in the US.
We are here,
and thank God for that.
And what were you doing before you were making cheese? Like, what was your past life?
So I worked for a media company.
Okay.
And I grew it in the UK, and then I took it out to the US with a couple of friends. So we basically replaced the on-print publication at universities. So university newspapers are so dry, and usually it's a bit of a vanity project. So you'll see like piles of them scattered across the campuses, but no one really reads them. And it's just to get a few people into some media publications and say they wrote in for the local thing. So we basically